श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम्। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभः निर्विघ्नं गुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विशेषभुरोगिणां निधे सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्ते नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नमो धर्माय महते नमः कृष्णाय वेदसे ब्राह्मणेभ्यो नमस्कृत्य धर्मान् वक्ष्यामि शाश्वताम्। ॐ नमो भगवते तस्मै व्यासाय मतिदेशस्य प्रसादात् वक्ष्यामि नारायणकथामिवाम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। So we looked at last time Karna and Shalya's arguments on each of them blaming Karna was again instigated by Shalya, and then Shalya was insulted heavily by Karna, and including his family, Bhaumadrakas, Balikas, all of them were of lowest of the low people like that. Karna insulted, and then in return, Shalya did not hold back. He insulted how Anga, where Karna is the king. Anga people, what the Anga people do. Like this, they were arguing. Then Duryodhana steps in and he requests, begs Shalya to stop, and similarly requests Karna to stop. So finally they agree, and then they decide to proceed with the battlefield, proceed against. So seeing then the array formed by Drishtadyumna, which was unrivaled array, which was impossible to resist by anybody. Such an array, Karna proceeds there, uttering great shouts, making his chariot produce loud rattle. So he moves, and then earth again trembled as those troops moved forward. And again, he disposes his own array in a counter array. He made in that battle, he made a great slaughter of the Pandava forces, like Indra's destroying the Asura's forces. Then, striking Yudhisthira with many arrows, he placed Yudhisthira on his right. So he battled like that. So Dhritarashtra, listening to this, he asks for more details. Sanjay, you are going too fast. Tell me in detail, how did Karna dispose his forces in counter array to Pandavas, headed which was protected by Drishtadyumna, protected by Bhima himself, and then Arjuna was there. So how did he do? And then who was there in that counter array Karna formed? Who was there on the wings? Who were on the further wings, outside wings? Who was there and dividing again themselves properly? How did those warriors were stationed? How did the Pandavas dispose themselves in the counter array to mine? How did they do? And how also did that great awful battle commence? Where was Arjuna when Karna proceeded against Yudhishthira? How could he become successful in defeating Arjuna when defeating Yudhishthira? How did Karna become successful in defeating Yudhishthira when Arjuna is still in the battlefield? And that Arjuna again, who single-handedly defeated everybody when he gave that Khandava Vana to Agni, how could who would fight against Arjuna? Such Arjuna when he is in the battlefield, how did Karna became successful? So, like this, Dhritarashtra asks him those questions. Sanjaya says that here now, how this arrays were, the viewers were formed by both Kauravas and Pandavas, and similarly, how Arjuna came and how did the battle took place on the both the sides. I'll tell you all this. Listen carefully. So then Sanjayana starts his narration. He says that Kripa and the Magadhas who are great again in the battlefield, along with Kritavarman. They took up the positions of the right wing, right side. Shakuni with Uluka standing on right of those, and again with many fearless Gandhara horsemen with bright lances and many mountaineers, very difficult to defeat those mountaineers. large number of them, like a flight of locusts. They grim looking like pishachas. They protected the Kaurava army, those Gandharavas and mountaineers and others. And then 34,000 unreturning chariot riders of Samshaptakas who desired to who take oath to kill Krishna and Arjuna. Uh, they were desiring to that, and they protected on the left side of that Kaurava army. And then on their left, the Kambojas, the Shakas, Yavanas, with their chariots, horses, and foot soldiers, at the command of Karna, they stood there challenging Arjuna and great Keshava. They were there to challenge them. And in the center, at the head of that array, Karna himself, he was clad in armor with beautiful coat of mail adorned with angadas, garlands, and protected. He protected from the head of that array. Like this, he was supported by Dhritarashtra's own very angry sons, and they were all great wielders of the weapons. They were repeatedly ready to go and destroy the Panchala Pandava troops. So, like this, they were stationed. Dushasana, who was, who is again, Sanjay says, who has a handsome features, tawny colors, eyes, that Dushasana riding on the neck of a huge elephant, surrounded by many troops and stationed at the rear of the army, and gradually he will approach for the fight. And behind him came Duryodhana. He was protected by his brothers, again riding on beautiful horses, and all of them with beautiful coat of mail. They were protected. Then protected again by united Madrakas, Kekayas, all of them. They were all protecting Duryodhana and others. Ashwatthama and other warriors, again, they all with many brave Mlechas, they followed from behind of that uh, chariot force that was there. And then again, behind that, many thousands of brave warriors with axes and swords, and they again foot guards of those elephants. So they started protecting that. And like this, that array was formed of great chariot riders, horsemen, elephant riders, foot soldiers. Like this array was formed that looked great. And then similarly, uh, uh, that array again, Vyuha was again formed just like using the science, the techniques that given by Brahaspati himself. So like this, the array was formed by Karna. And then on the other side, Yudhisthira, seeing Karna at the head of that force, addresses Arjuna, saying that, "See, Arjuna, the great you have formed by Karna in that battlefield, they look very great with its wings and further wings. It looked very great. And that sight of that hostile force that there, you adopt such a means so that they may not defeat us. So you adopt such a plan so that they will be unsuccessful." Arjuna joining his hands, worshipping Yudhishthira, taking his command. He says, "Everything will be done as you say, nothing will be otherwise. I will do that by which destruction of the enemy can happen. And by killing their great warriors, I will achieve their destructions." Like this, Arjuna responds. Then Yudhishthira tells, "With that view, you proceed against Karna. Bhima proceed against Duryodhana, Nakula against Vrishasena, that is Karna's son, Sahadeva against Shakuni, Shatanika against Dushyasana, and then Satyaki against Kritavarman, Pandya against Drona, Ashwatthama, and I myself will go against Kripa. So let Draupadi's son go against with Shikandini, they go against all the rest of the Dhritarashtra's sons. So like this, everybody go and attack those Kaurava troops. Like this, Yudhishthira addresses. When he says that, Dhananjaya agrees and he says, "So be it." And then the troops, they headed all of them again uh, with their leader, uh, when Agni was again. So they all proceeded with again, uh, like Agni, who derives his own effulgence from Brahman, like that those chariot riders with Krishna and Arjuna leading that battlefield. They were taken into the battlefield, riding on that chariot, which was again previously belonged to Brahma himself, and then it first again came from Brahma himself, that chariot, and then that chariot previously carried Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Varuna, and others to the battlefield. That chariot, Arjuna and Keshava were riding, and they were taking on that chariot and going ahead. And seeing them advancing in that chariot, that wonderful sight, looking at that, Shalya once more tells Karna, and he says that, look, the chariot with white horses yoked onto it, and having Krishna for its driver, that vehicle incapable of being resisted by all the troops, like uh, inevitable fruit of the work karma one performs, just like that chariot is always irresistible. And there comes Kunti's son slaughtering his enemies along the way. He is the one whom you had been inquiring. Again, if you remember, Karna on his way to battlefield, he was asking all the Pandavas side, whoever is he, saying that, where is Arjuna? I will give you that much wealth to you if it show me where Arjuna is today. And he was offering all sort of wealth and gifts and everything to those people, right? So Shalya now mocks, saying that there is Arjuna, the one who you've been inquiring all morning, where is Arjuna? Where is Arjuna? Like that, you've been asking everybody. There is that Arjuna. And again, since that tremendous uproar that being heard deep as roar of the clouds, without doubt, that's none other than Krishna and Arjuna, Vasudeva and Arjuna himself. There is that cloud of dust that's covering the sky now. The whole earth, O Karna, it looks like tremble, cut deep by the circumference of Arjuna's wheels. So it feels like that. The violent winds are blowing on both sides of this army, your army. The carnivores, creatures are yelling aloud. These animals are uttering frightful cries. See, Karna, the terrible and portentous Ketu is now forming a vapory form. He appearing to cover sun. So that means there is a grana happening. And he says that, see, diverse kinds of animals, all kinds of large packs, with the wolves and tigers, all of them are looking at the sun and screeching. So see the terrible kankas and the vultures and other assembled together in thousands. They are sitting towards, facing uh, towards one another, seeming again they are in this. These are all ill omens that we are seeing on our side. Again, he says, Shella says that those colored yak tails attached to your great chariot are waving unquietly, and the standard also trembling. And these beautiful horses who have a huge limbs, great speed, and they have speed like a soaring birds. All of them are quivering. And similarly, these omens that we see, that certain kings, hundreds and thousands, those kings that there they are lying down on the ground like eternal sleep. They are feeling very tired already. The Lord conch shells making hair to stand, that being heard. The sound of drums and cymbals and various other things are being heard on the other side. The diverse arrows that's going around, that sound coming from Arjuna, and the bowstring of Arjuna. See, Karna, the banners of Arjuna that's equipped with rows of bells, decked in golden moons and stars, that's made beautiful cloths and things like that blazing. That's Arjuna's chariot, and those banners are shaken by the wind. That's looking beautiful there. See those banners as well. Sharp sounds it's making. Those cries from that ape that's coming through. See Arjuna, who is with that apes on his standard, advancing towards us for destruction of these troops on our side. And also that Arjuna standard, which is to be seen, you can see that terrible ape there, which is enhancing the fears, attracting warriors from all the other sides, and it is terrifying everybody. that the discus, the mace, the bows, the bow, which called Saranga, and the conch shell called Panchajanya of Krishna, and also the gem, Kaustubha gem that he has. Look all that beautiful on him. That looks there. The Saranga bow wielder, that is Krishna, and the mace of Krishna comes urging. He comes here urging his horses like a wind. He is coming so quickly. He's coming, and the twang of Gandiva drawn by Arjuna as well. You can hear the sharp whetted arrows as well, sped by him or destroying Arjuna. Sped by Arjuna is destroying his enemies. The earth is covered with heads of those kings and warriors that's been uh, who did not retreat from the battlefield. They've been killed by Arjuna. It's covered by them. So look at this. The horses with eyes, tongues, and all those things cut off. They lying on the earth. Elephants like mountains. They are falling on the earth. They are looking like a mountains here. And similarly, foot soldiers, chariots, everything has been destroyed. So Shelya, like this, he destroys, he describes the destruction caused by Arjuna in that beginning of that morning, as Karna was proceeding towards that. And then he says, "You are sure, Karna, you will see that white horses with Krishna as the charioteer. You will definitely see that. Don't worry. You will see that. You are eager to see him. Today again, you will see those two great men, both with red eyes, both Vasudeva and Krishna stationed in the same chariot. You will see that. You will succeed today. If you succeed in killing uh, him, that is Arjuna, who has Krishna for his charioteer and Gandiva for his bow, you will be our king. So Sanjay, Shalya says that if we succeed in that, then you will be our king. Again, challenged by Samshaptakas, Arjuna is now going towards them, but when he is engaged with them, then the slaughter of those Samshaptakas is very clear. So like this Shalya addresses. And then to him, Karna responds saying that seeing Arjuna is covered by those Samshaptakas on all the sides. Look at that, oh, Shalya, look at that. He is covered completely from uh, Samshaptaka on all sides. Just like sun, Surya is covered by the clouds. Arjuna is no longer visible at all. So it is very sure, plunged in that great distress, Arjuna is definitely is going to perish today. He's going to die today. And to him, Shalya responds saying that who is there in this world that would kill Varuna with water or quench fire with fuel? Where is that possibility? Who is there in this world who can seize the wind or drink of the ocean? Who can do that? I regard your act of afflicting Partha to be just like that, so you will not be able to do that. Arjuna is incapable of being defeated in the battle by the Devatas or Asuras united together, having Indra himself leading that such an army. Arjuna cannot be defeated, or you suffer yourself to be gratified or to be easy mind. Having said these words about your capacity to kill Arjuna, Arjuna cannot be conquered in the battle. Accomplish some other purpose you may have in your mind. So, like this, Challa tells him, and he also says that see that Bhima, who is never fatigued with this exertion, is mighty armed. He's standing there like another Meru mountain. He's standing there with anger. He ever kindled. He is longing for revenge. That Bhima is there. He's destroying our troops as well. There is also Yudhisthira, uh, who stands there, who is difficult being resisted by the enemies. And there is also the two Ashwinis, the two brothers, twins, Nakula and Sahadeva, both are invincible in the battle. And then look here, the five sons of Krishna, they are also there, who have the features of Panchala princess. So they are there, and all of them are equal to Arjuna himself in the battlefield. And then there is uh, the sons of Drupada, headed by Drishtadyumna, is there, and then there is the great warrior, uh, best among everybody, Satyaki, who is irresistible like Indra himself. He's advancing against that. While all of this, while those two again, uh, 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 the Shalya describes the enemy coming like that, Pandavas coming like that. While those two were discussing like that, addressing each other, the two armies mingled and fierce battle then started like the currents of Ganga and Yamuna coming together. Dhritarashtra asked when the two armies came together, mingled each other, how did Arjuna battle those Samshaptakas? How did Karna battled the Pandavas? Tell me every incident in detail because you are skilled in very narration, very good skill, very skilled in narration, Sanjaya. Tell me all those great things that you saw there. Sanjaya continues. He says that observing, looking at that great hostile force stationed in that manner, Arjuna arrays his troops in a proper form. And Sanjay says that this is all happening because of, in consequence of your evil policy, king. So, and also of your son. So it is happening. Arjuna arrayed his troops, and then that Pandava force again. Now Sanjay starts describing Pandava force as vast and large and huge, and he starts using all those adjectives. If you remember, before earlier in this Kurukshetra war, those were used for the Kaurava troops. They were in large number. Now the Kaurava troops are thinning day by day and very little left. And he describes Pandava force that's left as vast and with horsemen, elephants, foot soldiers, and chariots headed by Drishtadyumna that looked magnificent. And then the horses, white as pigeons, with those horses tied, Drishtadyumna, who was looking like a Surya or Chandra armed with a bow, he looked like a death himself. And then the sons of Krishna, Draupadi, they were stood by the side of Drishtadyumna. They were again clad in coat of mail, armed with excellent weapons, all of them again endued with prowess of tigers, great tigers, and then possessed of again, they were followed by their maternal uncle. They were following Drishtadyumna like that. And then Samshaptakas, seeing Samshaptakas standing in the array, Arjuna, excited with anger, rushed against them, drawing his bow Gandiva. Samshaptakas, then again desiring to kill Arjuna, they rushed against Arjuna, again firmly resolved on victory or making death as their goal. They battled and they braved those Samshaptakas, again teaming with men, horses, infuriated elephants, chariots. They began to quickly cover Arjuna. Then the great encounter took place between Kiriti and those Samshaptakas. Arjuna became exceedingly furious, and great battle took place between Arjuna and them, just like the battle Arjuna had with Nivata Kavachas, which Sanjay says we heard previously. Arjuna cuts off the horses, standards, elephants, foot soldiers engaged in that fight with bows, swords, discus, battle axes, uplifted arms with weapons like these heads of the enemies by thousands and thousands. The Samshaptakas again regarding the chariot of Arjuna sunk in deep uh, vortex of those warriors. They uttered great uh, roar, thinking that Arjuna is buried in this dead bodies that's surrounding him. They thought like that, but Arjuna, however, killing all the enemies in front of him and also killing those stood further off as well. Then those were on his right and his back, like Rudra himself, he destroys and then he moves forward. And then the encounter took place again with the Panchalas, Chedi, Sringiyas. They faced up to Dhritarashtra force and Kritavarman, Shakuni. Those again encountered with those, along with fought with Koshalas of the Kashis, Matsyas, Karushas, Kaikiyas, Surasenas, all of them. Again, great battle take place. Meanwhile, Duryodhana, with his brother, supported by many Kuru heroes, great mighty warriors of Madrakas protected by Karna. They all engaged in battle with Pandavas, the Panchalas, the Chedis, and Satyaki, destroying again a great vast division of with his sharp arrows and crushing many great uh, Rathis. Karna succeeded in afflicting Yudhisthira and cutting off the armor, the weapon, and the bodies of thousands of soldiers and sending them to heaven, making them earn great fame. Karna caused great happiness to Duryodhana and his friends on the Kaurava side. Dhritarashtra once again asked, "Tell me, O Sanjaya, how did Karna cause that great slaughter, penetrating into that Pandava troops? How did he do that? How did he struck and afflicted Yudhishthira? Who were those great heroes among the Parthas that resisted Karna, and who were they from whom Karna crushed before he could succeed in afflicting? How he managed to afflict Yudhishthira in that battlefield?" Like this, Dhritarashtra asks, and Sanjaya responds saying that seeing Pandavas headed by Drishtadyumna station in the battle, Karna rushed against that Panchalas, and like swans diving into the sea, the Panchalas wishing for the victory, they rushed quickly against that Karna who was advancing against them. Then great battle takes place between them, and Karna starts destroying them in large numbers. Karna, angrily, quickly invoking his weapons, began to kill that Pandava army. Then penetrating into that Pandava army, shooting arrows, Karna killed 77 great warriors among the Prabhakaras. Then the Karna once more he killed 25 with 25 sharp arrows. He killed 25 Panchala warriors, great warriors, and with again he continues destruction like this with Chedis by hundreds and thousands like this. He starts destroying. And while he was employed in destroying those Panchala troops, the Panchala troops again in large numbers surrounded him on all the sides. Again, aiming then five great arrows. Karna once again killed five Panchala warriors, great warriors on that side. The five Panchala warriors he killed were Banadeva, Chitrasena, Senabindu, Tapana, and Surasena. So they were killed by Karna. And then the Panchala warriors, they were slaughtered like that. They started crying, oh, and started crying. And then the 10 Rathis among the Panchalas surrounded Karna. Them too, Karna quickly killed them. And then the two protectors of Karna's chariot wheels, the two invincible sons named Sushena and Satyasena, they began to fight in reckless of their own lives. The eldest son of Karna, Vrishasena, himself protected his father's chariot from behind. Then Drishtadyumna, Satyaki, Draupadi's sons, Bhima, Janamejaya, Shikandini, among with the great Prabhakara warriors, Chedis, Kaikeyas, Panchalas, and the twins Nakula Sahadeva and the Matsyas, all of them rushed against Karna in that battlefield, desiring to rescue their father. When all these attacked Karna, uh, the sons of Karna, all of them were great warriors themselves. They attacked these Pandava troops, Pandava heroes who were coming there. Sushena cutting off with broad-headed arrow the bow of Bhima, pierced Bhima himself with seven long arrows in the chest and uttered a loud roar. Then Bhima, taking up another tough bow, quickly cut off Sushena's bow, and very angrily he quickly pierces Sushena himself with 10 arrows and pierces Karna within twinkling of an eye with 70 sharp arrows. Then other with 10 other arrows, Bhima then kills Bhanusena, uh, Karna's son. He kills him in that battle in front of Karna with his horses, charioteer, weapon, standard, everything. He destroys. Bhima destroys that in front of Karna. He kills Karna's son. Then again, that beautiful face of him, he falls down. Having killed Karna's son, Bhima began to afflict Kaurava troops, cutting off the bows of Kripa and Kritavarman, he began to afflict those two as well. And then piercing Dushasana with three arrows, with a arrow made purely of iron, and Shakuni with six, he deprived both Uluka and his brother Patatri of their chariots. He destroys those chariots. Then addressing Sushena, he says, "You are killed next." Bhima takes up an arrow. Karna, however, cuts off that arrow and then strikes Bhima himself with three arrows. Then Bhima, taking up another straight arrow with great uh, uh, speed, he strikes at Sushena. But again, Karna cuts off that arrow as well. Then Karna, desiring to rescue his son Sushena from Bhima, he strikes Bhima with 73 fierce arrows. Then Sushena, taking up another excellent bow, he starts battle with Nakula and strikes him with 5 arrows in the chest. Nakula then strikes back with 20. The battle continues between them. Again, Nakula strikes him back with him 20 arrows, and he inspires fear in Karna's heart one more time. Then Sushena, however, again strikes Nakula with 10 arrows, quickly cuts off his bow. And then Nakula, taking up another bow, he strikes back Sushena with 9 arrows. Like this, the battle continues, and then Nakula kills Sushena's charioteer, pierces Sushena himself again with 3 arrows. Then, with 3 other broadhead arrows, he cuts off his bow, and then bow into 3 great fragments. And then Sushena, who is deprived of his senses, takes up another bow and pierces Nakula with 60 arrows. Sahadeva, he strikes him. Sushena strikes with 7. Like this, the battle continued. Satyaki, at that time, killing the charioteer of Vrishasena with 3 arrows, he cuts off his bow. And then with a broader arrow, he cuts off the horses with 7 arrows as well. Then he strikes at Vrishasena himself with 3 arrows in the chest. So, like this, when struck by Satyaki, Vrishasena became senseless on his chariot, and but within a twinkling of eye, he stood up and deprived of his charioteer and horses and chariots standard and things like that by Satyaki. Vrishadena, then armed with a sword and shield, he rushed against Satyaki and with the desire of killing Satyaki. Satyaki, however, he strikes at his sword and shield with 10 arrows and cuts off them. Dushasana, then seeing Vrishasena being made chariotless, weaponless, quickly makes him ascend on his chariot and rescues him from that Satyaki who was about to kill him. Then Vrishasena, then riding on another chariot, he goes after Draupadi's sons, and with uh, uh, he strikes them with 70 arrows, and he strikes Satyaki with 5 arrows, Bhima with 40, 64 arrows, Sahadeva with 5, Nakula with 30, Shatanika with 7 arrows, Shikandi with 10, Yudhisthira with 100 arrows. Like this, Vrishasena battles, and then those again, he continues to battle like that. Then in that battle again, Vrishasena continued to protect the rear of Karna from the Pandava warriors that were coming towards Karna. Then Satyaki, having made Dushasana charioteerless, horseless, chariotless, destroying all that by means of 9 arrows, sorry, 81, by means of 81 arrows, he strikes Dushasana with 10 arrows in the forehead. And then, riding on another chariot, Dushasana once more began to fight with the Pandavas. Then Drishtadyumna strikes Karna with 10 arrows. Sons of Draupadi strike him with 73, Satyaki with 7. Bhima strikes Karna with 64 arrows. Sahadeva strikes him with 7. Like this, the battle continues among them. Nakula strikes him with 30, Shatanika with 7, Shikandini strikes him, Yudhisthira strikes him with 100. Like this, the battle, but Karna, performing quick evolutions of his chariot, pierced every one of them in return with 10 arrows. Like this, the battle continues between them. Karna, armed with bow, as if dancing on his chariot, pierced each of his opposition enemy that's coming towards him. He strikes every one of them. He crushed those great bowmen with shower of arrows. He penetrated unresisted into that Pandava troops. He penetrated deep into that troops. Having destroyed 30 chariots of Chedis, uh, he then strikes at Yudhisthira with many sharp arrows. Then Pandava warriors with Shikandi and Satyaki desiring to rescue Yudhishthira, they go after Karna. So similarly, like this, the battle continues. Karna being penetrated into that Pandava troops, he starts fighting. So, piercing through that Pandava warriors, Karna, surrounded by thousands of chariots, horses, foot soldiers, he rushed towards King Yudhishthira. And cutting off hundreds of fierce arrows, he goes towards them, and he fearlessly pierce through that troops of Pandavas, and then he cuts off the heads, the arms, thighs of the enemies who fell in front of him. The Dravidas, Andakas, Nishadas, foot soldiers, urged by Satyaki, once more rushed towards Karna. And again, Karna battles, and hundreds and thousands and 10,000s of combatants, deprived of life, fell on the ground by the arrows of Karna. The Pandavas, Panchalas obstructed Karna, but Karna continued to make progress and inroad deep inside the Panchala troops, and crushing all those. Karna rushed towards Yudhishthira, and at last he was checked by the Pandava troops, the Panchalas, the Kekayas, and others. Karna could not succeed. He could not reach Yudhishthira. So he was resisted, and he was stopped in between that. Then Yudhishthira, with angry eyes, he addresses Karna. He says from a little distance, he tells him that, "Oh, Karna, you uh, listen to my words. You always challenge Arjuna in the battle, obedient to counsels of Duryodhana. You always listening to whatever Duryodhana says. You always opposing us. So making bringing all your strength prowess together today, you fight with me, and all the hatred you bear towards us, the sons of Pandavas you have, bring that today in this great battle. I will purge you uh, of your desire for the battle. You should not have any more desire for battle after this, after battling me." Like this, Yudhishthira addresses Karna, and having said, he pierces Karna with 10 sharp arrows entirely made of iron, equipped with wing of gold. And then the Karna was pierced by Yudhishthira with great care, and Karna strikes back at Yudhishthira, and Yudhishthira again became very angry. He blazed up in anger, and he once more bending his bow. He placed on his bowstring a whetted arrow with a, a very sharp arrow, and drawing his bow to the fullest stretch, he releases that quickly towards Karna, like destroyer releasing that rod of destruction. So like that, he destroys, and then when that arrow comes through, it pierces Karna, and he on his left side. When it was deeply pierced, Karna, afflicted with that weakened limbs, he fell into swoon on his chariot. He faints with his bow dropping from his hand, and seeing Karna in that plight, Dhritarashtra troops who were trying to follow him, they cried, and then all the combatants became very much worried about Karna, and seeing the prowess of Yudhishthira, who made Karna swoon in that battlefield, all the Pandavas uttered great shouts and loud roars, and there was a confusion arose. Everybody thinking, how could Yudhishthira do this? How Yudhishthira is capable of doing this, and those kind of things? They were also very much surprised as well. Then uh, Karna recovers from his senses, and recovering from his senses, he sets his heart on destruction of Yudhishthira. And drawing his bow Vijaya, he once again starts attacking Yudhishthira. And we will look at what Yudhishthira and Karna, how they battle. We'll look at that next time.